On the morning of May 22, 2010, police arrived at an apartment in Orange County, California, expecting a standard investigation. Inside, they found a gruesome crime scene that seemed to tell a clear, immediate story. The apartment belonged to 26-year-old Sam Hare. He was a decorated U.S. Army veteran who had recently returned from serving in Afghanistan. Through strict discipline during his deployments, Sam had managed to save more than $60,000. But on this morning, Sam was nowhere to be found. Instead, detectives found 23-year-old Julie Kibushi lying on the bedroom floor. Julie was one of Sam's closest friends, known by everyone around her as an endlessly supportive person who would drop everything if someone needed help. Her body had been deliberately staged. Her jeans were cut to suggest a sexual assault, and a vindictive message was written directly onto her clothing. For the officers standing in the bedroom, the physical evidence pointed to an obvious suspect. They theorized that Sam Hare had murdered his friend in a jealous rage, scrawled a hateful message, and immediately fled to avoid capture. The local media broadcast Sam's name, and a manhunt began. The police were entirely convinced of this narrative because the arranged scene played perfectly into the familiar tropes of a crime of passion. But Sam's father, Steve Hare, completely rejected the official story. He knew his son's deeply loyal character, and the idea of Sam murdering a friend and running away directly contradicted the man he raised. Steve started looking for his own answers, and he immediately noticed a glaring financial anomaly. Thousands of dollars were actively draining from Sam's bank account in the days after he had supposedly gone on the run. This timeline chart compares the official time of Julie's death with the sequence of ATM withdrawals from Sam's account. Investigators mapped these transactions and found a pattern of erratic daytime cash grabs that completely contradicted the behavior of a panicked fugitive trying to lay low. When detectives pulled the security footage from these specific ATMs, they didn't see Sam on the screen. Instead, the images led them to a teenager who confessed he was making the withdrawals on behalf of individuals connected to Sam's neighbor. If the prime suspect was actually a victim whose money was being stolen, then the physical evidence found in the bedroom was a meticulously constructed piece of fiction. The neighbor who ordered those ATM withdrawals was Daniel Wozniak. He was a local community theater actor, engaged to be married, who appeared entirely ordinary on the surface. But offstage, Wozniak was drowning in overdue rent and severe financial pressure. With a wedding approaching and no way to pay for it, Wozniak developed a fixation on Sam Hare's $60,000 in military savings. He decided that Sam's money was the solution to his own debt. On May 21st, Wozniak knocked on Sam's door and asked for a simple favor. He claimed he needed help moving some equipment at the local community theater. He led Sam up a narrow set of stairs and into the isolated, pitch-black attic space directly above the stage. In the darkness, Wozniak pulled out a gun and shot the veteran. Sam, entirely confused, told Wozniak he needed help, thinking he had accidentally suffered an electric shock. Wozniak listened to him plead, calmly reloaded his weapon, and fired again. Most criminals would panic and flee. Wozniak walked downstairs, joined his castmates, and performed his role in the musical 9. He sang for a cheering audience while the man he just murdered lay dead directly above them. His ability to aggressively compartmentalize reality allowed him to project a completely normal persona, smiling under the stage lights while literal death hung over the rafters. Wozniak knew that a missing man with rapidly draining bank accounts would eventually draw a police investigation. He needed a scapegoat to ensure he could spend the stolen money in peace. Taking Sam's phone, Wozniak began texting Julie Kibushi. He knew Julie cares about Sam, and he actively exploited her willingness to help a friend who appeared to be in emotional distress. When Julie arrived at the apartment around midnight, Wozniak let her in using Sam's keys. He led her to the bedroom and employed a calculated theatrical misdirection, pointing and saying, "Look at it, right there." The moment she turned her back, he shot her. He then dragged her body into position, cut her clothes, and wrote the hateful message, systematically staging the false narrative that would successfully trick the initial detectives. Julie Kibuishi had no money for him to steal. She posed no threat to his freedom. She was murdered solely to serve as a human prop in a gruesome stage play designed to fool the police. Once the ATM footage pointed to Wozniak, detectives brought him into an interrogation room. In an instant, his role shifted from a helpful, grieving neighbor to the central person of interest. During questioning, Wozniak tried to perform his way out of suspicion, but investigators noticed his narrative constantly shifting. Small details evolved, and his explanations required continuous rewriting to fit the evidence detectives placed in front of him. Then he made a fatal slip. While casually discussing Julie's death with the police, Wozniak mentioned that she had suffered 2 gunshot wounds. Detectives instantly knew they had him. Only 1 gunshot wound on Julie's body was visible to anyone entering that room. The second wound was entirely hidden, and that specific detail had never been released to the public or the press. An actor who spent days meticulously scripting a double murder, staging a decoy scene, and choreographing his alibi was completely undone by going off script with a single, accidental sentence. Crushed by the weight of his own mistake, Wozniak offered a full confession. He detailed the timeline of the murders, the financial motive, and eventually led authorities to the park where he had scattered Sam's dismembered remains. During the trial, the full scale of his calculated deception was laid bare before a jury. Prosecutors laid out exactly how Wozniak prioritized his upcoming honeymoon over the lives of 2 innocent people. The jury found the murders were entirely deliberate, concluding that Wozniak carried out cold-blooded executions purely to pay for his lifestyle and wedding. The legal system delivered a conviction and a death sentence. Yet, for the families sitting in the courtroom, no legal verdict could undo the profound trauma inflicted by such a senseless, greed-driven plot. A young artist lost her future, and a military veteran lost his life, all to cover the cost of a wedding party. The sheer pathetic nature of the motive stands in stark contrast to the unimaginable, permanent grief forced upon the Herr and Kibuishi families. Sam Herr died because he agreed to help a neighbor move equipment. Julie Kibuishi died because she rushed over to help a friend in distress. Both victims lost their lives specifically because they extended a hand to someone they trusted. This tragedy exposes a chilling reality. The most dangerous person in the room is often a familiar face, weaponizing our trust while performing a carefully scripted role for everyone around them.